that are not really familiar with that we try to shed some light on. I guess I have our maps ready, so let's pull them up and see what we're going to play on. Try to maybe narrow our analysis down to even the map specific. Nora-Rengo had the final ban and its theme park taken away for Oregon, and I just want to check again because I want to make a point of this. Desert Shoe is on break, so the system is not rigged. For now, he will miss 2 Oregon matches so far. 3, actually. So let's talk through this. Oregon, was this the right decision for Nora-Rengo to ban theme park and go with it, looking at Nora-Rengo's performance the past few weeks? James.
I mean, looking at Nora-Rengo, I'm surprised they banned out Cafe, which they won last week. They also had a loss on that. For Oregon, like, they lost that to Q Confirm, which wasn't the best game. That was their first in the season, and things looked a little bit rusty. Q Confirm was able to exploit a lot of weaknesses there, but as for Electrify, we don't know much. So perhaps that's some benefit there to Electrify. And Nora-Rengo, I think they've got to just play their game and have confidence, and hopefully they will have fixed up some of the mistakes against the compared to what they did against Q Confirm.
Well, you say that, James. I'm just looking at the stats here, and most of the bans going against Electrify have been Oregon. 4 times banned against them, 0 times banned by Electrify. They've not banned it themselves once at all this entire season. Are they just completely ready to play on it? And is that why maybe possibly we're also seeing other teams ban against them? Because, I mean, things like scrims exist. You know, teams mostly know what other maps other teams are pretty proficient on. So maybe this is a really good map for Electrify, and we're going to be very surprised here and very saddened for Nora-Rengo.
Yeah, and again, I really want to hammer this point for everybody watching at home. Nora-Rengo is the team that has to show up today, not Electrify. Electrify so far have played pretty well. I mean, yeah, middle of the pack, but with so many teams here in APAC, with so many different playstyles and regional playstyles that we've been seeing meshed together, yeah, it's a difficulty to be in that center, and for Electrify to come in and just kind of whoop some butt, not too shabby. We have our socials ready, so let's see what people think about this game. We had fans showing up in the last game. Nora-Rengo, 46% to 54 from Electrify. Fans showing up on both sides of the spectrum. We got 30 seconds left, though. James, how do you see this going? Scoreline.
There's been a lot of respect in the community now for Electrify, especially from the pro team. So I've got to say, I might actually hedge my bets on them for this one, and probably going to take it in a close scoreline against Nora 7-5.
Jess?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close one, and I hope it is a close one. Give it justice. Oregon needs justice. But if Electrify haven't banned this out for a reason, I want to see some good stuff from them.
All right, let's kick it over to our casters. David and Goliath, who's who? That's happened, Gio. All yours. Enjoy.
Welcome here on the well, casting, not really a desk, but you know what we mean right here. But I gotta admit, I'm kind of an Electrify fan myself, especially after that first day. I hadn't managed to bring it back. Gio, that was absolutely a top performance from Electrify. Well, not those first 5 rounds, but everything after that definitely was.
The theme park game that lasted about 15 years. Yeah, I remember it well. No, I mean, I think Electrify, as they said on the desk, right, it's not their game to prove themselves. This is Nora-Rengo's game to prove themselves. So all Electrify have to do is play consistently like they have been so far. And I mean, Triple Lift, he's sat number 14 in the ratings for all the players in this entire region. Bearing in mind, this is the largest region with 12 teams. So not too shabby at all. And kicking things off here with the operator bans, Electrify are going to be opening things up with Thatcher.
They're going to be starting things out here indeed. Like Electrify, they beat their own expectations. They thought they wouldn't be going off with a single win this season. But yet in this first phase, they already managed to get 2 down on the board. So it's really Nora-Rengo's game to lose right here. They need to win it if they want to be able to go be competitive for that top spot. And as the multi now gets taken down by Nora-Rengo, they're going over to that defense side of things. And as they have decided, it will be a Mira. Okay, logical, good choice.
Yeah, pretty standard, right?
Yeah, pretty standard.
You know, I've been really enjoying all of like the spicy and colorful and like exotic bans that we've been having recently, especially because of the Echo permaban that we currently have. So when it's something like a Mirror, it's like, oh yeah.
Wait, this still exists? Yeah.
People ban Mirror? Alright, Goya, that's
go.
an old school. Well, I say old school, it's not super old school, of course, but like, haven't seen a Goya ban in a while. Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of a throwback. Back when he had 3 shields.
back when, yeah, like he would literally lit the entire room on fire. Just like the Tachenko rework will do as soon as that one will hit the board.
Oh,
Pretty
man.
excited about that one. With Goyo 2.0 to come in. But Laundry Supply, first site to be chosen by Electrify. We see the Castle coming out. We see the Pulse. And also Mute. So looks like they want to have some information playing, some Denial as well. Definitely Denial with the Mozzie Mute combo.
Yeah, obviously not going to be going for the Pulse. Instead, going for the Mozzie. So as you say, information denial is the name of the game. They're also going to be able to have that roam game. Mozzie can roam. You also got the Vigil and the Castle, which suggests that's something they're going to be going after. Interestingly, Nora-Rengo haven't chosen to bring a Kali, who so far has proven to be somewhat popular, particularly on this site, especially as you can kind of shoot down through the meeting hatch into Electric. You see the wall that Ray is reinforcing at the moment. If that gets electrified, oftentimes you'll see a Kali get rid of that, but because they've got the Maverick, it might not matter quite as much.
If the Maverick is out, you're going for that one. It has a fully automatic rifle, has 2 frag grenades, and still opens up the job, and there's nothing you can do about it. So the Maverick, really a good choice to go on for here. I would pick that 9 out of 10 times over the Kali, just purely because of the Maverick being so reliable, and there not really being any counter against it, except for potentially C4 being tossed through, but it's quite a hard job to achieve, especially if you electrify those walls, so you're kind of like working against yourself in that matter. But Nora-Rengo, how are your attacks going to be shaped? Are you going to be clearing out the roamers first? As you can clearly see, there's about 2-3, and with that Mute, Mozzie, and Vigil, they're definitely planning on that one on Electrify's ladder, just going straight for the site.
Well, it looks like some of them are going to be rappelling up, but obviously here Mavericks just decided to straight up show up in blue and begin to open that up. But Ray's very ready for those angles to be held in. And this is why they've got to be sure with this droning to help guide the rest of the team and get those walls very swiftly opened up. But, you know, these members of Electrify still roaming around upstairs, and that's going to be the job of some of those other players here on Nora-Rengo, like Simatuki, who is upstairs there to deal with.
They have 3 people down here in blue bunker. In the meantime, they're still meeting control for the likes of Electrify. The hatch is opened up as well, so they're going to be able to at least harass Nora-Rengo a little bit if they want to be opening, want to be contesting blue from at least Electric right there. However, they also opened up what normally is a rotation on the defense side of things. That means they now have the opportunity to walk in from there. I'm just kind of concerned about the fact that Electrify is not really being challenged on their roams currently, and it looks like Nora-Rengo just want to punch straight to site. And it could work if they manage to find the 2 kills quickly, but otherwise it's going to be Electrify to manage to strike back from their backs, as they might not be ready for it.
Well, losing Pikachu early there means that Electrify have been weakened. They know that Simatuki's down the road, and there we go. He's going to be able to bring Triple Lift down as well. That's going to be the key for those members of Electrify who are off-site to begin to move in, as Nora-Rengo are going to have the advantage here.
Definitely have the advantage, Geo, as now the last 60 seconds are on the clock. Ray finally manages to get a response out. The TCSG will be able to pick up Soulboy right there. It's the second one to come in. Ray coming up huge right there. Papilia will drop as well. It's going to be a 3-3 situation now. Not sure if there's still one roamer. Yes, there is. Flash is going to be able to come from the back, as he's just holding on the main stairs right here. He's going to be able potentially to pick up a double kill right here as they move through. Misses the first shot, but gets the second one. No, also misses that one, but he's going to be wasting a lot of time right now on the likes of Nora-Rengo. They will be hunting him down, or at least will have to be afraid of him as he still stands. And as Yoshingo wants to drop, it's Flash that managed to rotate all the way around and potentially come on the back right now, going down these blue stairs, or like tower stairs. And as soon as that happens, it's a double kill from Ed to come. It's only up to Simatuki now, Gio, with 20 seconds left. He knows what one player is, but I doubt he's going to be able to clear it out.
Yeah, just sat there in the freezer, but there you go. Flash isn't going to be able to secure all that much, and he's just got to do what he can. Looking around here for those angles, but he's going to be caught out on his own. Flash getting that final kill, and Electrify, despite the fact that it looked like they lost some of those men a bit early and that Nora-Rengo had that control, they were able to bring it back.
They were definitely able to bring it back. Nora-Rengo started off so strong there, just getting those 2 entries at the start, basically shutting down the roam, except for that one guy, the Vigil that was still on there, able to waste some extra time and managing to, well, because of that, disrupt the attack, and he executed Nora-Rengo, forcing Electrify and especially Ray and Ed to pick up these final few kills, making sure that that round was going in their favor. So definitely a good strike back from Electrify right there.
a good start, and you know, as it's been kind of said over and over, Electrify sort of represent this team who can play the thorn in the side of everyone else. They were very underestimated, I think it's fair to say, coming into the start of the APAC North League. They weren't really proven. They'd never played in a pro league or anything like that. So whereas Nora-Rengo, very storied team, they've played on the world stage at things like SI, they've played in pro league. They go back pretty far. So combining these two teams together, you'd still want to say that Electrify are the underdogs. But actually, you know, even when we look at the audience predictions, most of them think that Electrify are going to win, 54% of them. So, you know, still very early, and Nora-Rengo can turn this around. Bear in mind that here in APAC North, Nora-Rengo are the only two out of these two teams who have played Oregon so far. So they will have that to learn from. But so far, Electrify looking good. They're looking strong.
Electrify, though, they managed to steal many hearts. They were expected to come from the weakest region. Like sub-region for APAC North. They didn't even expect themselves to get many rounds in, and yet they are with 2 wins. They beat everybody their expectations, and Nora-Rengo is not looking too strong themselves. And of course, like, that will be swinging most of the votes in favor of Electrify right there. And in some extent, that they are public favorites, but they're still going to be the underdog due to the fact they just have so little experience compared to Nora-Rengo. And it really shows that Nora-Rengo, they need to fix what's going on badly, or this season might not end up well for them.
Well, a very similar attacking lineup coming out here from Nora-Rengo. They're choosing to bring the IQ as well. That'll mean they can find things like those key black eyes, like that utility on the side of Electrify, who are no longer bringing operators like the Mozzie. Instead, they've opted to stick with the Pulse, which they kind of flirted with in the first round. But that does mean that there's going to be a lot of intel being passed on to the rest of the team as Nora-Rengo start to make their move in. Here we go. You can see both Ed and Triple Lift based down in the stage area. So they'll be able to see who starts to move in from Attic, which is kind of one of those things you expect to happen. Yoshingo's going to be going as Flash makes that pretty ambitious run out there, but it works out. He takes a lot of damage to his name though, but that does mean Nora-Rengo are going to be coming in weakened.
That's the thing, right? He shut them down and he disrupted them, meaning that there's going to be some time off right now. But you got to keep in mind there's 3 C4s currently on the likes of Electrify, and only one of them is on site, and that is Evan Flash, who just basically got low so badly due to that run out. The last 2 members, it's going to be a Pulse and a Mute. They can still guide these C4s into the right direction, potentially pick up 1 or 2 kills with them. And if they manage to do that right before Nora-Rengo strikes, it should definitely be the round for Electrify to come in. As time is running low now, they definitely need to hurry. As they open up in games, they are looking to do so. They have to be careful for the C4 from below.
I do like that they are taking master control, because this is something that we saw a lot earlier on not happen. C4 isn't going to be able to get anything. Nora-Rengo still yet to push on through. Simatuki is still sitting out in Big Tower. He's going to have to make a push as well, as there is just 30 seconds remaining here on the clock, and Electrify is still very much situated on the site, and it's going to be quite hard to deal with them if that doesn't happen now.
Not just that, Gio, but they also still have the 2 C4s available, and as Triple Lift is now rotating back at Simatuki and Papilia, both to get 1 kill to start things off. They might be opening up just enough right here to go for a potential plant, but if Triple Lift managed to get himself into a spot where he can toss the C4 in properly, he might be able to cancel it out. He needs to take care of Soulboy first, though. It's only up to Mariu and him right now. Ray's going to be able to get that kill. Soulboy drops due to Triple Lift. It's Electrify that will win the round. A bit messy maybe in the end right there, as Pikachu like almost with the shots against Mariu, but in the end, he managed to get it in. Nonetheless, it's Electrify with 2 in a row right here in Oregon.
All in a bit of a rush there at the end, and they were able to get the diffuser down, but of course just overwhelmed. And I think one of the potential problems there was that Soulboy on the IQ needed to be a little bit more assertive with the job he was doing, because it meant that that pulse was available there for the defensive team the entire round. There was constant intel being fed in, and that meant that the positions were perfectly known for the rest of the team all the way up to the end of the round. If you'd have moved in a little bit more aggressively, a little bit more assertively, and be able to use your gadget to be able to sniff out that pulse and bring him down, then a lot of that wouldn't have been quite as available to Electrify as it was. But, you know, they're going to be moving on to their 3rd site. over here in Meeting. And this was an interesting sight when we saw Nora-Rengo play on it before. I don't remember if, or rather, I don't know if anyone remembers all the way back then when they were playing with Q Confirm, and we saw a lot of around the split area in Meeting, sort of dancing with the hard breaches and the Kaid, trying to bait each other into thinking one of the walls was going to be tricked when it wasn't, and things like that. So I'm actually quite interested to see how Nora-Rengo are going to go about this attack, because it is something that they were able to find value on before, but currently so far Electrify look like they've just been able to take advantage of the team.
I do want to quickly mention though that Nora-Rengo have a fundamental issue here, and that is they're not shutting down the mobility that Electrify has. As you see, there's going to be like 3 roamers. Flash last round was taken down pretty low after his run out, up to like 20 HP, but he was still allowed to completely rotate down into Classroom, toss up that C4, detonate it, walk all the way back up the white stairs and get back on site without anybody even realizing what he was doing right there. So Nora-Rengo is not shutting them down properly. They just let them walk around. They just try to put pressure onto the side, but that's about it. They really need to get a hand on these 2 roamers or 3 roamers if they really want to be able to get this round in, because otherwise it's just going to be ending up the same way again if they don't do so fast.
Now, like this looks a little bit more assertive here from Nora-Rengo. Now, Meryu has certainly been a player who's been able to really show up for the team, obviously here on the Maverick. So a lot of his job is going to involve using those frag grenades, potentially having to get rid of the evil eyes that'll be present from the Maestro, who's playing in the security area, which notoriously has been very hard to remove defenders from. Seeing those barricades be put up there, it's going to make it harder for Nora-Rengo to be able to be inconspicuous as they move on through. But even so, still everyone's standing. No one been lost just yet. And in go the drones to try and figure out where that player in security is. So that's certainly something the attackers are going to have to deal with before they can make their push on into the site.
Not just for the fact that there is someone there, but also due to the fact that it's the Maestro and he has those evil eyes available to him to try and deny the plant to come through. Eventually, quick burst of rounds coming through from Flash, but not able to find anybody as of yet. But Mary is going to be aware of his position now. Tries to get a quick burst of rounds in, but will be failing to do so. Top 4 controls now being established by Nora-Rengo, something we basically failed to see, the verticality now coming into play. I think it's a really strong move that they will have to pull out on this map if they want to be able to get these rounds in. Like this, you're going to be forcing them out of their positions, and that might be the way to get them to, well, drop down and leave more room at sight.
I actually like this from the Jaeger downstairs, also being able to provide that vertical threat. And the Maestro is not actually going to be able to win that. Triple lift goes down to Papilia. This is a good start here for Nora-Rengo. They do have less than a minute remaining, but bringing Ed down as well means that they do have this man advantage. Pushing in through the smoke to plant the diffuser, and this means Simotuki can come and provide some of that required support, gunning down the remaining members there of their opponent. And Nora-Rengo, they take their first round, and it's a flawless one.
It's definitely a flawless round indeed to come in. They managed to play this out really well. It isolated the roamers, managed to let them drop down to that vertical play to come in that was not being contested whatsoever by Electrify. Due to that, there was a lot of freedom on Nora-Rengo's side, and, well, as soon as you have control of security, all you have to do is just run in, get behind that wall, start planting, and make sure the smoke doesn't throw in any other canisters at you. And that's exactly what happened right there. Nora-Rengo played that perfectly.
Now, returning to Laundry Supply, this was an interesting round, looking back at round 1, because I think you and I both kind of expected Nora-Rengo to have the advantage, because it was clear that Electrify were trying to play this roam game that wasn't really getting a load of value, especially as Nora-Rengo kind of didn't have a huge presence upstairs. They were coming in a lot through blue. The walls got opened very, very quickly. There wasn't really all that much denial, or at least denial of value from the Kaid, obviously, because you're trying to deal with things with the Maverick. And it meant that he was kind of sitting there trying to hold on to angles, and a lot of the other players in the defense were away from the site. And I feared that Nora-Rengo would be able to just overwhelm the site very easily, get the plant down, and secure themselves the round. But it didn't work out that way, because Electrify, eventually they were able to come down, make those rotations, and get the kills that were required of them. And that's something that Nora-Rengo really struggled against. So I'm interested to see how it is that this is going to be approached again here, because once again, you're seeing a very similar defensive lineup come out from Electrify. They have those roamers, they have the castle barricades, but Nora-Rengo could end up just coming in through blue again and playing very laterally.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Last time they managed to open up the 2 walls within a minute. It's absolutely record time almost that they managed to do that with, but they didn't have any pressure elsewhere, and that is really where it got hurt, where they got hurt in the end, because they allowed the roamers to rotate, get some kills right there, and rotate back to side, and due to the lack of the verticality, there was basically one way they could attack from. Lags are being spotted out, a lot of damage being done right to Mariu. He is going to survive though, after he opened up that wall. Now going to the second into Electric, trying to open up that one as well. And my question is Nora-Rengo actually going for the verticality, or are they going to be going purely horizontally again? Where did Flash get that kill from? Papillia done. Oh, they managed to open that up with an impact themselves, and Flash was going aggressive. That's really smart right there. They didn't know that was opened up yet. They wanted to use one of the impacts of Zofia to do so. Instead, they did it themselves, and it went aggro on that hole, managing to get the 1 kill to start things off.
Yeah, that was very aggressive there from Papillia. He just ran up to join the rest of his team and taken out almost immediately after opening up that wall. But, you know, nonetheless, remaining members do still stand. Triple Lift up here based in the kitchen. And Simotuki, he's, you know, on the prowl. He wants to figure out where these roamers are and get rid of them because he knows what a problem they caused before. But without the exact information as to where they are, all he can really do is try and shoot in, provide that pressure, and hold on to the angles. And this is why they're sending in Yoshingo as well. But looks like Triple Lift's going to be able to get the kill. Yes, he does. Sending in more rapid fire to try and get rid of that Hibana as well that's on his tail. But being able to bring down the Ashe, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, definitely. And they had the right idea there, trying to go for the roam clear, but they didn't have a drone to follow it up with. As Soulboy right here is going to be opening up, instantly turned on by Flash. And the last 2 members now going to be around in Boiler. There's going to be 1 to come in, and it's 2 as well. Ray will be able to pick up both for the TCSG. A gun that we do not really see coming into play much anymore after the nerfs that came in. But Ray definitely seeming to be a fan of it. Able to pick up, I believe, 4 kills on the 2 times they went downstairs with that single gun. So he's showing up huge for Electrify right here. They're currently 1-3 up, and well, in a scene where the attack seems to be heavily favored, you can only say that Electrify is doing a damn good job.
Very disappointing there for Nora-Rengo. I like that they're trying to be assertive, but I think in some cases it's kind of reckless. They're sort of going in with very limited information. I mean, even then at the end where you saw the sled, was it Soulboy who was on the sledge, just open up the castle barricade, but without even going by any information as to whether someone was playing behind that. I mean, it was on site. Like, you've got to expect someone to be nearby. Obviously, we as spectators know that for sure because we can see through the wall. But there was no drone, there was no nothing. It was just, I'm just going to open this wall and hope for the best. And, you know, the defenders are obviously going to be expecting utility like that to be brought down. That's the reason that you put it up. So they're going to be ready and waiting to get those shots, and that's exactly what Flash was able to do. So returning here to kids, I was watching some of the NA broadcast, and they were, I think it was on the Canadian division the other day, and they were saying, we refuse to call it kids, we're going to call it bunk. Like, we don't want to call it kids. So I feel like we should be consistent.
Why don't they want to be calling it kids?
Is that really something you want to be talking about in a video game? I don't know. I kind of agree with their reasoning somewhat. That's why we call it bunk now. I'm going to join in with that petition and say, right, we're going to refer to it as that. But regardless, this was another defense that went pretty well for Electrify before, because they were able to successfully hold off this push that could come in from Attic, but they are going for a different defensive setup here. Instead, not playing with those C4s like before, and going for the clash, exactly, and having that more horizontal pushback.
And this could maybe be troublesome for the likes of Nora-Rengo. You see that shield right there? They need to deal with that before they want to be able to deal with that clash. Because if you just shoot your concussions in, you're still going to be safe right behind the shield. But if you're going to be shooting in those concussions, there's still that ADS. So like, you either need to use one of your pieces of utility to have the other, because you only have one impact left. You have 2 concussions. There is an ADS in the shield. Like, what are you going to be doing? And instead, they try to all fall back and go for a different approach because they realize as well this is not really something we're equipped to deal with at this very moment. They need to get like angles on them. They need to get crossfires out. Otherwise, that clash is going to be hurting them and wasting so much time out of the hands of Nora-Rengo.
Nora-Rengo, once again, coming around to head in through the south side of the map. And actually, I'm liking that it looks like Soulboy is going to move in a bit faster. That was something that I did criticize him for before. And there's Mario making his way in to, you know, the master games area of the map as well. So a nice swift move in. This is a really wide roam here from Flash. He's using those black eyes and he's gonna go for the run out, but I don't think there's anyone he can get. No, it looks like it is not going to, so he's gonna have to retreat back inside and make his way back over. Pillier isn't too far away. He could be in trouble.
At least he was spotted out, right? So they're going to be aware of him. They're going to be probably having to deal with it by putting someone on like a flank watch, you would assume. And as Simatuki now picks up the first one onto Ed, it's going to be starting things off. But the instant replies are coming through and still the clash right there in APAC, and they have no clue how to deal with it. They need to push through. In the meantime, Mario's going down with the plant. The smoke is going to be forcing him to stop. Ray manages to come in and get that kill. Is the clash to eventually fall? And it's only up to Pikachu and Flash right now to hold it, but he didn't know someone was coming up on the white stairs right there. It's secure to come in. It's only Flash left right now. He does still have his C4 though. Is he going to be able to find that planter? Is he going to be able to get the kill right there? No, that's going to be a stray one. It's not going to be even able to hit someone. Then he will have to go for these kills right here. Panics just a small bit. He has to swap over to that Deagle, not trying to waste any bit of time right here. He's probably not going to be able to win it because of this. The post-plant positions have been taken in by Nora-Rengo. They're holding the verticals as well. It's just bringing around the Rosie. You can almost tune Benny Hills under this one as Nora-Rengo will eventually win it there. Round number 5 will be theirs. And that means 2-3. Current scoreline, Nora-Rengo have the opportunity to draw it up.
Some nice improvements there from Nora-Rengo. I think they were, you know, a lot more proactive in being able to take various angles from different parts of the map, despite the fact that there was that presence from Electrify downstairs. You had the Valkyrie, you also had the Jaeger spending some time down there, and they were able to get rid of those, clear them out. Well, obviously didn't clear out the Valkyrie as she was left all the way to the end, but not allow them to be a problem, but still be able to come in from those different sides, because it meant then that when Electrify were kind of sandwiched in on the site trying to move in on the plant, yes, they got the planter, but there were still all these other members of Nora-Rengo around, and Electrify just kind of got crushed in amongst these various angles from which they were coming. So I think that that was a nice change there from Nora-Rengo. They played it a bit too slow when they previously attacked this site. So Electrify, they've decided that they want to return. And instead of sticking with this clash strategy that they went with before, they decided, okay, it didn't work out all that well for us, but what did work out well for us was playing downstairs, playing with these C4s that could provide that vertical threat rather than the horizontal threat, and force Nora-Rengo to have to pay attention to what's happening on both floors rather than focusing more on the top. So we'll see if this does work out once again for Electrify, or if Nora can do another instance of that kind of adaptation.
Yeah, like the big thing that changed for me was Soulboy actually playing in Classroom, denying anyone that could potentially come up there to throw that C4. Oh, I love that, Ken. There's so much information. You're way too late, Flash running out for that one. But like, the issue that Electrify had is they were over-peaking everything, right? They didn't need to peak at certain points. They dropped the diffuser, but yeah, Ray still was deciding to run inside. As Flash now dies first, most likely due to a run out to come through. Oh no, actually wanted to rotate back up, and Yoshingo managed to catch him off as he was hitting that perfectly well. Nora-Rengo aware of what Electrify is trying to achieve.
Yeah, and that's also disappointing because Valkyrie is one of those key C4 holders, right? And if your entire strategy is based around the presence of C4s downstairs and having them roam around, then losing that is a pretty big loss for your side. Yoshingo's just going to be trying to hold on here as he moves up from the freezer, but instead deciding he wants to go for the hatch. That camera is going to give away a lot of information about where he is, and this is why we're seeing Ray here try and hold the staircase as he begins to move on down.
Yeah, they want to go for a bit of a crossfire, at least playing contact. So if one falls, they're going to be able to instantly respond. As Yoshingo is worrying about someone potentially coming from the bottom floor. But Ed is not deciding to drop as of yet. He's just holding off that doorway. They have that control, that vertical control. And they need to hold on to this current roaming position as well. And it's taken up a lot of time right here in Nora-Rengo. Yes, they managed to clear out one, but there's still going to be two left. And if they don't manage to do that soon as the T4 is being ripped, see Yoshingo instantly trying to respond, but the drones are coming in. It's not going to be able to pick up anybody as of yet. The last minute is soon to be striking, and yet Nora-Rengo haven't got full control of what they need due to the roam presence downstairs.
I mean, oh, C4 gonna actually get anything? No, it's not. Instead, it's going to get that flash. But it's a testament to how valuable this position here in security is that Nora-Rengo are investing so many of their players down here on the first floor. Papilia being one of them, Mario another, as Triple Lift able to gun them both down. And that means the diffuser is going to be dropped too. Less than a minute remaining. Nora-Rengo finding themselves in a very difficult position. Soulboy gets a kill for himself. But Electrify look like they're in a particularly strong position here. 2 members remaining. Positioned here on site. Nora-Rengo do pick the diffuser back up, but they have to move in so they can plant it.
And they definitely have to move in. And with 25 seconds, Nora-Rengo, time is not with you right here. Not sure how many smoke canisters are left on Pikachu, but surely if he has any, he will be using them right about now. As Ray and him most likely playing contact right here. Trying to move in. Simatuki. There's going to be Soulboy to pick up the first kill. Jaeger then to try and peek out, and Nora-Rengo clutch it out just barely though. They will be able to draw it up, but after the flurry of frags to come in from the likes of Electrify, surely thought that would have been theirs to, well, take and win. Just a bit of over-aggression again, trying to over-rotate when that wasn't necessary because you had the diffuser down. Basically costed them the round in the end.
Yeah, kind of unnecessary to have that peeking at the end there. Electrify being on the defense, they knew that Nora had to go to a specific place. If they couldn't hunt them out themselves, they were going to have to place the diffuser down. And at that point, you have the advantage. You know exactly where your enemy is. And if you're going to make unnecessary peeks like that, you put yourself at the risk of being gunned down. That's exactly what happened. And it's a shame there because Electrify were doing so well. But, you know, 3-3 at the half, there's still a chance for them to pull it back in their favor. And of course, that's what Nora-Rengo are going to be looking to do as well, as they have so much to both win for and lose for here. But, you know, first round here on their defense, and they're going to be going for something a bit different to what Electrify did. Instead of bringing something like the Kaid, instead they're opting for the Ella. As well, combined with the smoke, there's kind of a lot of that physical denial that you look for as, you know, it's like plant denial. As the players begin to move up onto the site, those things that hold them back. You've also got the Jaeger and the Wamai. That makes it harder for those projectiles to come in. And the Maestro with those very key Evil Eyes, of course, provide the intel, also provide plant denial. That's the name of the game here for Nora-Rengo.
You see again on that replay, Triple F with the huge picks there from the kitchen, able to pick up 2, both Maverick and Zofia off the board. There's a lot of utility there that was no longer going to be used, and I surely thought that would have been the round right there for Electrify, but again, they wanted to over-rotate, or they got a bit too aggressive on some of these angles, and Nora-Rengo managed to bring it back. And that's the experience of Nora-Rengo coming in, right? As soon as over-rotations happen, they're waiting. They're reading what Electrify does perfectly well as soon as they get into this advantageous position, and they just manage to capitalize on that. It's just a matter of time, though, before Electrify realizes they do not have to over-rotate like that when they have the diffuser down.
Well, hopefully we'll see some improvements from them as they head on here into their attack. And they've decided that they're going to bring the double hard breach. So beforehand, Nora were just bringing the Maverick, but instead we're going to have Pikachu on the Hibana as well as Flash on Maverick as well. That should mean that you can go for these walls down here in blue, which actually have a rotation rather than being fully reinforced, as it was when Electrify were on the defense. But also you can open up the hatches too. There we go. That's exactly what's going to happen here, as Flash heads on upstairs to open up that meeting hatch. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do go about this, because obviously Nora were very good at opening things up super quickly. But yeah, I was going to say, looking up through the hatch, wasn't quite able to get that kill, but it was a close one.
Flash lucky to be alive right there. Like, I thought he would have seen him due to that small hole that, you know, he walked past before, but clearly did not register for him. So lucky for him, he's still alive right here. I'm going to be able to use that blowtorch onto different areas, but it should have been the opening right there for Nora. Would have been a very valuable one as well, but at least they have some vertical control right now. Most likely right now they will be trying to push forward into taking control of this boiler room, which they already have, and this is a key position on Oregon. As soon as you have boiler controls, the attackers, the round 9 out of 10 times will be going very well for them. Especially with the utility that's still... How does Simatuki walk in? Ed does not know! That's a double kill, Simatuki! How did they not realize that? Triple if will respond, but I'm absolutely stunned about what happened there. You instantly see Yoshingo retaking control of boiler right there. Able to put up the pressure again on the likes of Electrify right here. A bit of a pre-fire to come in, but that doesn't matter. I'm kind of confused about what really happened there. He just walked in, no one noticed. And Ed and Ray both being picked up on that one.
Electrify shouldn't have allowed for that to have happened, and here Pikachu's just getting ready because he knows that his enemy is just around the corner. Are those angles going to be able to be taken? Well, Salt Wave does get it onto Pikachu. Flash falling as well. So many losses here for Electrify, just triple lift remaining, but he can't really do anything on his own. So Nora-Rengo decisively take their first defensive round, and I have to say, Hap, as well, it was really curious the Simatuki was even allowed to do that. That's something Electrify should never have been able to do. But the thing is, Nora-Rengo had so much control over understanding the positioning of their enemies, because once that meeting hatch got opened, of course, they knew there was the peak, right? So they knew exactly where they were. They heard the hatch get open. They saw it get open. They knew that the blue walls were going to have to be open next. So they were expecting that rotation to be made. Well, there was already a rotation in the wall. It'd been left soft. So they had the direct line of sight as well. And they actually put up a reinforcement when they knew that that rotation was going to be made. So they knew that these players from the attacking side were going to be hanging around in blue. They were going to have their presence there. And time was going to be spent if they decided they were going to open up the wall, which they should have done, that they were going to be there. So in that instance, Simatuki just thought, all right, well, I know where my enemies are. I'm just going to walk out and do something about it. Flash was, I think it was Flash, right? He was just standing there in the middle of pillars and just got taken down, which was a very free kill there for Simatuki, which should not have been a free kill. It was just a huge, like, just consecutive string of mistakes there from Electrify. Sure, we'll call it that.
He watched the left, right on the Sophia. Into electric, maybe someone was pushing there, and no. At that moment, Simatuki managed to rotate through, managed to get behind the pillar, and as soon as he was behind the pillar, he watched through the hallway again. So it's just that little, like, split second right there that he could have been spotted out. If that was the case, that would have been maybe the kill for Electrify and the control. I just like how it was explaining how important the pillar and the boiler room are for the attack. If they manage to get control of that, it should be a good round for them. And then, well, the exact opposite happened. Simatuki with a huge 2K. And Shingo retaking control, actually, of that side, going behind that shield, basically denying them any room whatsoever.
Well, Electrify do have their next chance here. 4-3 is the scoreline, but it's going to Nora-Rengo right now. They're going to be coming in to, again, this upstairs site. The bunk site. Remember, we've got to get into that happened. Going to be obviously taking this this attic wall pretty swiftly, and the defense that's been set up here by Nora-Rengo is very intel heavy. You have obviously both the Maestro and the Valkyrie, and with that you're going to have one of those C4s available. There are shields on the side of Yoshingo and Simatuki, so a lot of utility to get through here for Electrify, but they should have what they need to be able to do it. You've got the Zofia. You're not bringing in Ash, instead relying on the air jabs there from the Nomad. And you're just going to see these players getting rid of those ADS. There is still one remaining there. That's why these lifelines being sent in. But there are those members of Nora-Rengo sitting at the end of the attic, ready.
Yeah, definitely. Behind that shield and right behind here on the health wall, just holding a bit of a pixel angle onto the opening that they created on the Electrify side itself. As now the games room is being opened up as well from that master bedroom. Or the walk-in closet, rather. They will have their opportunity to get ready for an eventual plant later on as well, but they need to deal with these two players right here into the attic, because otherwise they're just going to be peeking into that breach. As you can see right here, Yoshingo has the perfect opportunity to go for that angle. Soulboy in the meantime will be taking down Triple Lift. He's mostly the playmaker on the likes of Electrify, and there's now the kill slowly start siphoning in right here. It's Electrify suddenly on a 3v5 disadvantageous position. Some pre-fires happening right here, but he's going to be peeked by the Jaeger. It's Ray that now needs to fight him off. It's the spots to come in. It's the pre-fires potentially come in, but not able to get the kill as of yet. And as he continues to fire down these bullets and keeps on sending them in, it's going to be Pikachu, Flash, and Ray that managed to get some kills right here. Bring it back to a 3-3, Gio.
Yeah, Pikachu with that 2K was pretty great there, and actually Flash joining in with the fray as Papilia goes down. This could be where things actually start to turn around for Electrify as he turns it into a 2K. Only Soulboy remaining here on the side. He's going to toss in the C4, but it doesn't get anything. That means Pikachu is able to get the diffuser down. Flash falling to Soulboy. That means you've got a 2 versus 1. Soulboy has to find both of these players and get the disable if Nora-Rengo are to take the round.
Always Flash allowed her to walk in right there in that 1-2, just boxing, get 2 kills. As Soulboy now cutting wide, gets the pre-fire down. That's the first down to come in, but still Ray alive. But look at the HP on Ray. He's about 5 HP. He has to be careful, but not too careful, because otherwise Soulboy's going to be peeking in. That little pre-fire was enough to get him off of it. And he knows that if he peeks right now, he's going to be able to stop him. He needs to hurry up. There is no time. There is no time. It is the Electrify that will win the round, even though that Soulboy will get that quad kill. He went off the defuse. Not enough time to restick it. And that's that. Electrify draw things back up again due to a perfect stall game. And really, Soulboy, you should have just stuck it right there. There was no time to go off of it anymore.
It was a difficult position there for Soulboy, and the fact that he was even able to get those kills in such a high-pressure situation is certainly something. And I think Electrify really struggled at the start and the mid-round to get control of the attic area of the map, and it meant that much further on in the round than you would like to see, they were still stuck being held back there. And I started to wonder whether or not they would actually have it in them to be able to clear that out and push on forward. And if it weren't for Pikachu's 2K that he was able to secure for himself, they wouldn't have even been in the position where they could get the diffuser down in the first place. But you know, Nora-Rengo was very, very close for them there, and they've decided that they want to return to the same site. They're bringing the same operator lineup, I believe. We'll have a look. Yes, okay. They're bringing the exact same. So they feel pretty confident in their approach to how they were doing things, as do Electrify, clearly. They like bringing the Nomad. Decided they don't need the double soft breach with the ashes we see from so many teams. But, you know, they did struggle. They struggled before, and I worry that if they can't get something like that key 2K once again, they're gonna be held back.
Definitely, like Flash being allowed to just walk into attic, get that kill, sweep to the left and get the Maestro of Maryu as well. He's not having the best of games, to be honest, but still, like, it was an amazing frag to come in. I would not have expected him to get that one, and well, it basically launched Electrify into an opportunity where they could go for that plant, getting that after plan. And oh, I believe Jess once said it, 80% of the plants that go down with a proper after plant are being won by the attack, so it really put them up into a good spot. And right now, Nora-Rengo and Electrify are 4-4 in score. It's Electrify that seems to be struggling just a little bit with their attacks, but they still managed to get around in just to start things off.
You know, one of the big problems that there was that we're going to have to look out for is that Triple Lift didn't really have a great time at clearing out the shields that were placed at the end of the attic. You know, of course, Yoshingo and Simatuki on the Wamai and the Smoke respectively, they're bringing those two shields, and that is utility that has to be cleared, and that gave them a lot of protection. You have these ADSs up here in the attic, which means that you're going to have to use the utility on your side, like the flashes, to clear those out. But there's so many of them, and what ended up happening before was some of those lifeline impacts did get used in that clear, and so that put them in a position where they couldn't necessarily be used to clear out the shields. That's something that needs to be looked at here, because if they can't change that, if they can't get that value out, they're going to really struggle once again.
I like how Nora-Rengo is just deciding to not bring any breach denial because they know there's going to be that Maverick on the board. Gives you the opportunity to go for another operator. Like, for example, it allows you to go for the Wamai Jaeger combination and still have your information out on the likes of Maestro and Valkyrie, and of course your Denial on Smoke. Like, you would have to remove one of these if you wanted to try and deny that wall, even though it's going to get opened up anyway due to the fact that there's a Maverick on board. So I really like that Nora-Rengo is using that to their advantage to potentially help them stall out Electrify a bit more, because they seem to be struggling on time quite a bit in these last 2 rounds.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Well, in go the X-Kairos, and that's going to begin to open up the games wall, one of those really key walls required to be able to take control further into the site. It's a good start here from Electrify, but there is less than a minute remaining, so it hasn't exactly been a swift take, I think it's fair to say. If they can get some of these early picks, though, because obviously there are still 10 men on the board, then this could be pretty advantageous for them, especially as Ray is still remaining over in Big Tower, holding on to those other angles. You've got Ed over on the west side as well. There's the smoke, and it's actually Simatuki who will be going down first, as Ed does get that shot in through the window. So Electrify, they're starting off with the advantage here, something they didn't have before.
I'm just upset that they used all 3 X-Kairos here. Well, they could have used one onto the wall on Attic, actually, to create another angle. But as we say, that's going to be triple kill from Nora. Quad, actually, to come in from all different members. And Pikachu, all left alone right now, manages to find one bit of damage done into Papillion. They're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place right here. Peeks out onto the white stairs, gets that one, but the time runs out, and there's nothing he can do from here on forward. It's Nora-Rengo that will win it. And, well, as I just pointed out, a small adaptation could have maybe allowed him to deal with that Attic a bit better. Just using one of those X-Kairos to open up right there, make sure the half-wall is unplayable, would allow the player in the back of Attic to actually try and contest him better.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the concerning thing is Ray seems very keen to play this Nomad, but isn't necessarily getting a lot out of it as far as, you know, being able to be part of those fights. I don't know how much value the air jabs are getting, given that so many members of...
I haven't heard a single one yet.
Yeah, given that so many members of Nora-Rengo are playing upstairs. You know, I think they had a bit of a roam slightly earlier, but not really, and Ray hasn't really spent all that much time away from just that one part of the map that he's been playing in up towards Big Tower Attic area. So it's kind of like, where are you placing these air jabs? I haven't heard any go off. It kind of makes you wonder as to whether it is the best pick, the most conducive to being able to win these rounds, which Electrify need to do, obviously, if they want to win, because Nora-Rengo right now, they have the advantage. And they're going to be coming all the way back down to the basement. And Nora were able to win this before. Remember, Simatuki managed to get that really bizarre 2K that should never have happened. So if anything, I really hope that Electrify are going to be a bit more vigilant about where these potential angles for aggression. Well, right, they don't really have much of a choice.
No, they don't. But just quickly touching back into the choice of the Nomad, like, if we're thinking about operators that might be in a more useful state right now, I would say Capitan would be a perfect one to use right here. Use the asphyxiating bolts to push them out of Attic, for example. The micro smoke bolts to just deny the lines of sight where they keep on getting killed from, you know, which is the Attic door. Like, that Capital would be so effective in dealing with the whole Attic situation. Now, they're not going to have to deal with it anymore for this matchup, I believe, but still would have been a good choice.
Hey, I mean, you never know. You can always go to overtime. It's APAC.
That is true. It's APAC. And I mean, I've done 45 rounds last time around, and I'm seeing it coming now already again. So
exactly. Well, Simatuki was playing pretty far forward towards the pillar again. So if he can recreate what he did before, I'm going to have a great time watching that. But Flash is just getting ready to open up the meeting hatch, being sure that there is no one around. Last time, he very nearly got peeked from below. It'd be concerning if that were to happen again, but no one is in the position to do so, so he might be safe for now. But where Yoshingo is positioned here, very interesting, because it's really going to deny access to that wall that the members of Electrify are wanting to open. He does get flashed out. This could be the opportunity to bring him down. He threw in the Wamai magnet just before, so that's going to protect him a bit from those projectiles, but he does still stand.
The magnets take a small bit to actually activate, right? So that flashbang was not taken out, and it seems like they're aware of the fact that it has been reinforced, so they don't have to deal with it anymore. Still, that magnet hands there. So if someone is a bit unfortunate with their placement of of the utility might still get caught off, and there we go. This is the kind of opening that I would like to see on, for example, APAC. Just gives you such big of a line of sight to actually try and challenge the opponents with on their actual defensive side. This would be a very good opportunity for them to actually get that plan down right behind the cases right there as Ray opens things up yet again on that Nomad. Haven't heard a single air jump yet, but you know, it's never too late. Might still happen.
There's always a chance, and you know, Electrify, they have managed to move in pretty well, but I say that Simatuki does get the kill onto Ed. Diffuser starting to go down, but that gets interrupted. That means Triple Lift is going to have to try and hold these angles to see if he can protect the team. Doesn't look like it's going to work too well. He does manage to get Papilia, but Yoshingo turning things around. He's the only one remaining here on Nora-Rengo though, and has to go up against 2 members of Electrify. Is he going to be able to do it? This did happen before, but there is the Diffuser being put down again, not actually gonna be finished off, and it's gonna be Electrify who are finished off as Nora-Rengo secure another 1 versus 2.
The pre-fire from Triple F should have really come in right there. There was not really another place he could be except for in that corner. Like, you just took out your teammate from there. If you cut the pie that quickly, he cannot be back in cover yet. So I don't really get why he stopped pre-firing. He should have had it if he continued. But hey, it's Nora-Rengo right now, 6-4. They have 2 match points they could potentially clutch out. Now, we have seen Electrify play really well under this kind of pressure, where they managed to bring it back all the way and force it to go into overtime. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case now. And it's not just Triple Lift showing up, it's also Ray and Flash pulling their weight right here. So Electrify definitely seeming to be getting more into the competition as the matches progress. And Nora-Rengo, they are on their favorite defense. They're doing quite well. Let's see if they can close it out, Gio.
Well, this is the first time that they've actually come to this site so far in this match, so we haven't seen how they fare against Electrify in it. And again, this kind of comes back to what we were saying before about the security room being so key as part of that part of the map that you really have to clear out, because control of security gives so much control of the site overall. And so far, Electrify have not been particularly effective at being able to clear out parts of the map that they need to have in order to gain control of the site. So it makes me kind of question how much they're going to be able to get out of this if they really struggle to get whichever player it will be playing in there. Possibly the Maestro. We're seeing Meryu start to set up in there, opening up the rotate into Kitchen. And it concerns me as to how they're going to be able to do that.
Definitely so. We're seeing the electronics being brought back in to try and counter Electrify by electrifying the walls. Of course, with one and a single Electroclaw, you can both get the top attic walls and the actual stage walls. So it's a little bit of utility you use to basically make sure that everything will remain closed from, for example, a Hibana or a Termite, which, well, just the Hibana is being brought. And of course, you still have the Maverick available. He's going to be able to just slice it open with that blowtorch. He needs to make sure he uses his fuel well, because there's not much in it. Don't think he could get 4 full walls.
Flash is conceding that he can't see the Electroclaw through the hole, and so they're beginning to move down there, trying to figure out another way to go about it. And you know, they're being droned out, but there's really no presence from Electrify on the south side of the map. And we did also see a nice roam going on in the freezer from Soulboy. He'll be carrying a C4 as well, so he's a threat that Electrify are going to have to be very vigilant about as he begins to move in through the basement. It's looking like he's going to be doing a pretty wide roam here. Wonder if he'll be able to catch any kind of angle up here through the meeting hatch, or if he decides to move on up through the stairs to go for a flank.
Potentially just throw over a C4 as well. He's in a perfect position to do so. Like many of these players would like to try and plant right behind the table there that's on its side, as it's bulletproof. And of course you have that height advantage as well, so you might not stick out your head, really. As Flash is going to be opening up that door right now. It seems like they're moving in. Pikachu managed to get up that kill, at least onto Yoshingo, starting things up. Papilia to go down. And it's Electrify definitely to come in strong, but Soulboy indeed with that C4 I mentioned before to take out one of the players. Flash, however, is going to be able to plant right behind the sandbags. And that means we're in a 4-on-3 effectively, as Papillia is still in a down but not out situation. It's a beautiful shot from Soulboy, somehow picking up the headshot right there. The planter has gone down in the meantime, though. It's only up to Pikachu in a 1-on-2 situation. Effectively manages to get 2 of them. The pickup already went through in the meantime, though, and as he's putting himself right behind the sandbags, he might be able to clutch this one out if he manages to turn this into 2 1v1s. Gets the first one, knows the last one is around, but he gets pre-fired. It's Sumatuki to do it. It's the kilt and the clutch to come in right there. The ace denied of the likes of Electrify right there. It was almost Pikachu with 5,
The diffuser.
but it's Nora-Rengo in the end that clutches it out right there in that 1-on-2 situation, but it seemed like it would be going Electrify's way. Luckily for them, luckily for Nora, it did not. And they're back in it. Going to be ending top half of the first phase.
Nora-Rengo had so much to prove in that game, and at the start it looked like maybe they weren't going to be able to do it. They obviously lost on Playday 1 against Q-Confirm on this very map, and they've been able to bring it back and show that they have what it takes. Some great stats there. Soulboy sat at the top of the leaderboard. He was really doing a lot on that kind of roaming, the flank kind of game. Got 12 kills for himself, some great C4s, and really Nora-Rengo showed what they were made of.
They really show, but so did Electrify, of course. They were the underdog of the story. They managed to put a good dent into Nora-Rengo, but Nora-Rengo brought some amazing and flashy plays that completely threw Electrify off guard. And let's see what our beautiful people at the desk think of that.
Dank u wel, Stijn Happers. Yes, we are